Welcome to this little summary of session 1 of The Lifted Life. I often like to begin this session with a story I first heard from Louis Giglio, who was invited to come and preach at a church where the pastor was also the owner of a hotel. And this man said to Louis, "I've given you the very best room in the hotel. You're going to absolutely love it." And the preacher flew in and was picked up from the airport, and the guy who picked him up from the airport said, "You're going to love your room. It's the best room in the hotel." And then the porter helped him with his bags and dropped his bags outside the door to the room and said, "You're going to love this room. It's the best room in the hotel." And so Louis enters the room and he looks around and he thinks, well, it's fine, it's clean, it's decent, it's functional, it's smart. But if this is the best room in the hotel, what would be the worst room? But nonetheless, he was grateful, and when he was asked about it, when he came to preach, "So what do you think of your room?" he said, "Well, it's good, it's fine, thank you." It was only on the very last night of his stay that he noticed a door, and he decided to try the door. He'd assumed it was just the door to the broom cupboard, but it opened out into a glorious penthouse suite, panoramic views, 4-poster bed, plasma screen TV, sofas, lounge area, a kitchenette. It really was a very, very good room. It was a penthouse suite. And this is a perfect picture of what it's like for us as Christians. Many of us enter the Christian life to begin with expecting everything to be absolutely amazing. But then we realise, maybe I've actually not changed as much as I thought, and actually this is a bit more of a hard slog than I thought, and actually I'm still struggling with certain things. And so we just get used to the adjoining room. We settle down and get nice and religious and think, well, this must be it. Let's just knuckle down. But there is more. And Christian history testifies to this constant quest for more. Think of John Wesley and the Methodists and this idea of a second blessing. Justifying faith is not enough. You could be justified, you could be forgiven, but live a life of constant inertia and defeat and dissatisfaction. Wesley was convinced, no, there's more. There's got to be a further impartation of grace, an impartation of sanctifying grace. Sure, there's still a process after that, but is there not a decisive breakthrough moment that we could look for? And his cause was taken up by the holiness movement. Organizations such as the Salvation Army, the Keswick Convention, took up the cause and continued to advocate for this general breakthrough, this real victory that you can have in Christ through your union with Christ. More recently, the Freedom in Christ course would be on with the same kind of quest. But in many parts of the church, that quest has been given up. And certainly the language that had been used of a second blessing or of sanctification has been dropped. But I would argue there still is more. And in the verse that we look at in this session, John 1 verse 14, we discover the basis for that. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. In other words, this breakthrough, this second blessing, this deeper life, this higher life, this lifted life, doesn't even start with us, but it starts with the descent of God into humanity. It starts with divine initiative. It starts with Christ. And we respond in faith to what he has done in becoming flesh, in becoming one with us in our humanity. We respond in faith and become one with him in his divinity. Bye for now.